Imagine Brenda from accounting could send you to prison for not looking sad enough at a parade. That's what it's like for women in North Korea's military. In North Korea, everyone has to serve in the military, even women. They don't treat their soldiers well. It's not about honor, it's about surviving really bad conditions. Female soldiers face some of the harshest realities. From grueling training to cramped living conditions, their lives are a constant struggle. Many young women are conscripted right out of school, facing a harsh new reality. Before we jump right in, please like and subscribe. It is free to you, but tremendously helps us. Thank you. You might be thinking, lots of countries make people join the military. You're right, but North Korea is different. The moment girls graduate high school, they're forced into the military. They even have to sew their own sanitary pads. Imagine being a teenager and having to deal with that, plus taking care of the hygiene of male soldiers. It's really tough on them mentally. It's wrong, and it happens every day to these women. The training is grueling and relentless, pushing them to their physical and mental limits. They endure extreme weather conditions, from scorching heat to freezing cold, with little respite. Their rations are often meager, barely enough to sustain them through the day. Many of these young women write letters home, expressing their fears and longing for a normal life. Despite the harsh conditions, they find solace in the camaraderie and support of their fellow soldiers. They dream of a future where they can live freely, without the constant pressure and fear. In rare moments of reflection, they ponder their situation and hope for change. Their resilience is remarkable, but it comes at a great cost to their well-being. Every day is a test of their endurance, as they adhere to strict schedules and maintain discipline. Behind the stoic faces, there are moments of vulnerability and raw emotion. Yet there are also moments of triumph, where they achieve small victories that keep them going. They hold on to hope, believing that one day, their circumstances will change for the better. United in their strength, they continue to persevere day after day against all odds. Some even risk their lives trying to escape, hoping for a chance at freedom. They hide in fear, knowing the consequences if they're caught. A few make it across the border, finding refuge and a new beginning. Reunited with their families, they finally find peace and a sense of normalcy. These brave women share their stories, raising awareness and advocating for change. They inspire others, becoming symbols of hope and resilience. Let's talk about food, or the lack of it. In North Korea, food scarcity is a harsh reality that affects millions of people every day. The markets are often empty and the shelves are bare. Basic necessities like rice and vegetables are hard to come by. And when they're available, they're often too expensive for the average person to afford. Remember that feeling when you're really hungry? That gnawing pain in your stomach that makes it hard to think about anything else? Now imagine feeling that all the time. For many North Koreans, this is not just an occasional discomfort, but a constant state of being. Now imagine feeling that all the time. This is the grim reality for countless North Korean children and soldiers. Malnutrition is rampant, and it has devastating effects on their health and well-being. Children grow up stunted, both physically and mentally, and soldiers are too weak to perform their duties effectively. That's life for many North Korean soldiers. They stand in long lines, waiting for their meager rations, knowing that what they receive will barely be enough to keep them going. The look of despair on their faces is a testament to the harsh conditions they endure. They barely get enough food to survive. The portions are small, and the food is often of poor quality. It's a daily struggle to get enough calories to sustain themselves, let alone to stay healthy and strong. This makes them sick and weak. Malnutrition leads to a host of health problems, from weakened immune systems to chronic illnesses. Many soldiers are unable to get the medical care they need, and their conditions worsen over time. It's also really easy for people to take advantage of them. In their weakened state, they are vulnerable to exploitation and abuse. They have little power to resist, and their suffering is often ignored by those in positions of authority. It's really sad, because the government sees them as tools, not people. These soldiers are treated as expendable resources, valued only for their ability to serve the regime. Their humanity is overlooked, and their suffering is dismissed as unimportant. This is the tragic reality of life for many in North Korea. Female soldiers face an even harsher reality. They are expected to fulfill dual roles, both as soldiers and as caretakers. This duality places an immense burden on them, as they are often required to perform physically demanding tasks while also managing domestic responsibilities. Gender discrimination is rampant. Female soldiers are often given the most menial and exhausting tasks, and they face harsher punishments for any perceived shortcomings. Their contributions are undervalued, and their struggles are largely ignored. The vulnerability of female soldiers is particularly troubling. They are more susceptible to exploitation and abuse, both from their superiors and their peers. Their plight is a stark reminder of the gender inequalities that persist within the North Korean military. Daily life for these soldiers is grueling. They are often tasked with manual labor, from construction work to farming, in addition to their military duties. The physical toll is immense, and the lack of proper nutrition only exacerbates their struggles. Rest is a luxury. Soldiers often sleep in cramped, uncomfortable quarters with little time to recover from their exhausting days. The lack of proper rest further weakens their bodies and minds, making it even harder for them to endure the harsh conditions. Despite all this, they continue to serve. The resilience of these soldiers is remarkable, but it comes at a great cost. Their daily lives are a testament to the extreme hardships they face, and their struggles are a stark reminder of the human cost of the regime's policies. To make people accept such bad treatment, North Korea uses propaganda. This propaganda is pervasive and relentless, infiltrating every aspect of daily life. It is designed to shape the thoughts and beliefs of the population, ensuring that dissent is minimized and loyalty to the regime is maximized. From a young age, children are taught that their leaders are amazing. In schools, children are exposed to a curriculum that glorifies the ruling family and demonizes foreign nations, particularly the United States and South Korea. They are told stories of the leaders' supposed heroic deeds and are encouraged to emulate their loyalty and dedication. And the outside world is bad. This narrative is reinforced through textbooks, songs, and even games that depict enemies of the state as evil and treacherous. The aim is to create a sense of fear and mistrust towards anything foreign, making it easier for the regime to control the population. By the time they join the military, many women believe they're doing something important. Military service is portrayed as a noble duty, a way to protect their beloved country from external threats. Women, like men, undergo rigorous training and are constantly reminded of the sacrifices made by their leaders and ancestors. The military continues to fill their heads with these ideas, using a combination of strict discipline and ideological indoctrination. Soldiers attend regular lectures where they are bombarded with propaganda, reinforcing the notion that their country is under constant threat and that their loyalty is crucial for its survival, making them afraid to question anything. The fear of punishment, combined with the constant barrage of propaganda, creates an environment where questioning the regime is unthinkable. This psychological manipulation ensures that the population remains obedient and subservient with a little hope of change. Female soldiers also face severe malnutrition and health risks. The food rations provided are often insufficient, leading to chronic hunger and malnutrition. This lack of proper nutrition weakens their bodies, making them more susceptible to illnesses and reducing their overall effectiveness as soldiers. Despite these hardships, they are expected to maintain their duties without complaint, further showcasing the regime's disregard for their well-being. The long-term effects of this brainwashing are profound. Soldiers often suffer from severe psychological trauma, including anxiety, depression, and PTSD. The constant indoctrination and harsh living conditions leave lasting scars, making it difficult for them to reintegrate into society if they ever leave the military. The regime's manipulation ensures that even after their service, these individuals remain loyal and subservient, unable to envision a life beyond the control of the state. You might think that at least the military training is good. Sadly, it's not. The equipment is old and dangerous. A lot of what they learn is useless in a real fight. On top of that, they face exploitation and abuse by senior officers. They endure grueling physical training in harsh weather, leading to extreme fatigue. With everything we've talked about, you'd think people would want to leave the military. You're right, many do. especially women. But escaping North Korea is almost impossible. The borders are guarded, there are landmines everywhere, and people tell on each other. From a young age, children are indoctrinated with the regime's ideology. Those who do escape face a dangerous journey. It shows how desperate these women are for freedom. Soldiers are often sent on impossible missions, facing harsh conditions and extreme risks. Let's take a break from all the serious stuff and talk about something lighter: uniforms. The North Korean military uniform is really bad. The fabric is itchy, and they don't fit well. It shows that the government cares more about looking good than taking care of its soldiers. Despite the intense training regimens, they lack resources for actual training exercises. The uniforms also impact their morale and performance. Back to the lack of food. Soldiers work really hard but don't get enough to eat. The North Korean government doesn't want help from other countries, even if it means their own people go hungry. It's a really sad situation. The escape routes are dangerous, with severe consequences for those who try to flee. Those caught face harsh punishments and imprisonment. The food shortages severely affect soldiers' health and morale, leading to fainting and weakness. Soldiers in most countries get paid for their service. Not in North Korea. They get almost nothing for their work, barely enough to buy food. It's another way the government takes advantage of them. Their uniforms are of poor quality, focusing more on appearance than functionality. The physical and emotional toll on these soldiers is immense, leaving them drained and vulnerable. Healthcare in North Korea is terrible. Hospitals don't have enough supplies or medicine. Imagine being a young woman stuck in a system that can't even give you basic medical care. Severe food shortages make it even worse. Soldiers suffer from malnutrition, impacting their health severely. It shows that the government doesn't care about its people. Many soldiers face untreated injuries, worsening their plight. This is strange, even for North Korea. The government forces people to show emotion in public. Imagine being told to cry and then being watched to make sure you're doing it right. It's a way for the government to control people and make them afraid. Soldiers face economic struggles and inadequate pay, adding to their hardships. You'd think getting kicked out of the military would be a bad thing. But in North Korea, it can be a good thing. It means you're free from a system that treats you terribly. The inadequate healthcare system leaves many soldiers in poor health. It's a chance to start over, even if it's difficult. The hidden economy offers some a lifeline, but it's risky. Soldiers in North Korea aren't allowed to get married for the first 10 years of their service. Imagine not being able to even think about love for 10 years. It's a way to control soldiers and keep them focused on their work. The emotional intensity and public loyalty demanded from them are immense. These no-go zones further isolate them, adding to their hardships. North Korea sends some of its soldiers to other countries to work. It sounds like a chance to see the world, but it's not. These women work in bad conditions for very little money. They have no freedom. Some soldiers face dishonorable discharges, and there's a hidden economy within the military that exploits them. Even abroad, they are constantly monitored and have limited interactions with locals. When a North Korean soldier dies, their sacrifice is not truly honored. Their families get very little, and the government acts like it was just part of their job. It shows that the government doesn't care about its soldiers, even when they die. Additionally, soldiers are prohibited from marrying, which takes a toll on their mental health. The lack of emotional support and recognition leads to a deep sense of isolation and despair. Despite their sacrifices, they remain unrecognized and unrewarded, deepening their sense of futility. That's a glimpse into the terrible lives of women in the North Korean military. It's a story of suffering, abuse, and control. Families of fallen soldiers receive little to no monetary support, adding to their hardships. By talking about it, we can raise awareness and hopefully help make things better. Efforts to give voice to these voiceless soldiers are crucial in bringing about change.